Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General, I've got several questions here, so I want to try to move quickly. First and foremost, I saw that, and this is for Secretary Donnelly, I saw that there's been a reversal with regard to the LAS contract involving Hawker Beechcraft. I've got the statement you put out today, Mr. Secretary. Is there anything you would want to add to that?
No, certainly. The situation is that as we went to make a court filing on this issue, we found the service acquisition executive and support staff found that the documentation for this source selection was not what it needed to be, and certainly we're disappointed that that has been the case and that we've fallen short here. But we need to go back and take corrective action, and we are in the process of doing that. Okay.
Another quick question on that issue. It was brought to my attention that there was a change or a lowering in the pilot safety standards with regard to ejection in this contract. Are you familiar with that? Do you know if there was a lowering of safety standards so that the Super Tucano would be compliant?
I'm not familiar with those details.
General, are you familiar with that at all?
I'm not.
Okay, we may submit that in writing for more detail. Quickly, with regard to the A-10s that are outside of my district, I'm going to ask a question here to try to assist my colleague who has the A-10s in his district in Fort Smith. My understanding is that the BRAC report cited the airspace around the airfield in Fort Smith, the low-level routes, as to why Fort Smith was an ideal location for the A-10. Now the A-10s are being moved. Was there something in the current Basing Commission report that contradicted the BRAC findings? Can you give me any insight as to why the A-10s might be moved from there?
Just to clarify, the A-10s are not moving. The A-10s are being retired out of the fleet. So the really doesn't affect BRAC-related issues so
we will have no A-10s left at all.
No, the department will, the Air Force will still have about 248 A-10s in the inventory, but we made a decision at a corporate and strategic level that we could take additional risk in the fighter force structure, and that inside the fighter force structure, the best place to take that risk was probably in the size of the A-10 fleet. So that was the basis for the decision.
Right,
and I think in this case, as has been applied where in other locations where it was feasible, we have a mission to backfill at this location with an RPA.
Right, with the unmanned.
Right.
But you said that they're completely retired, but then you said, but we're keeping A-10s. I think the question here is, if you're going to keep them anywhere, BRAC indicated that this was a type of place you would want to keep them. But I've only got like 50 seconds, but if you have anything else to add on that.
Again, sir, I think one of the imperatives for us was to try to retain a flying mission in each state, a guard mission, and in this case, of course, there's a substantial presence in the Little Rock area for the International Guard.
Let me move on to the next question. This is regarding AMP versus AMP Light. Some call it AMP Light. I met with the pilots out at the Little Rock Air Force Base last week. Can you talk about, when you were comparing AMP to what some have called AMP Light, were you considering the cost of supporting that navigator position for the amp light, which you wouldn't have to do with the amp. If you could, I don't know if Chairman...
Gentleman's time's expired. If you
Thank you,
will
Mr.
answer
Chairman.
that for the record, and we are going to, we'll have a briefing on, classified briefing on that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.